What race did you just get done doing?
I just ran the Jackalope Jam.
Jackalope Jam.
Yeah,
And you ran,
I did.
so tell us like, okay, so you ran 100 miles. How many, or not 100 miles, 100 hours. How many
Yeah,
miles did you do in 100 hours?
I ended up doing 280 miles. I think 280 and a half because it was each lap was a mile and a half. It was like a 0.75 out, 0.75 back.
Jeez, dude. And you ran around this cone, right? The cone of death is what I hear it's called.
The cone of death, yeah, and it's like this guy Paul has been like he decks it out every year, and so it's just like it's got all this stuff on it, like googly eyes and lights and stars. It is cool.
That's pretty sweet, man. So how many times did you run around this cone?
I don't know. I can do some quick math. I mean, and using a calculator, I can do some math. I think it was like 100 and something.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot of turns around a cone.
187.
Wow. Now that's something right there.
Yeah, I got to know the cone well.
I bet you got that course memorized, man. You ever try like doing it while closing your eyes or anything like that?
No, I never did. That'd be a good. I'm sure someone did though, just to see how far they could get. I
Right.
mean, I can envision pretty much every bit of it though.
Yeah, I bet, man. So 100 hours, how many days is that?
So it's 4 full days and then 4 hours on the last day. So we started Wednesday at 9 a.m. and went until Sunday at 1 a.m. or 1 p.m.
So what was the conversation with your boss like when you said you were taking off for a week?
They didn't really ask too much. It's kind of like the normal amount for a vacation, but some people were asking what I was up to, and so I don't think it really realized how far I would end up going if I ran what I was hoping to, or the amount of time until I got back and I was telling them how far I'd gone and when like how long it lasted. And they're like, wait, what'd you do?
That is so funny, man. I'm sure they imagined in their head that you were gonna go take a nice 4 or 5 day vacation, and you did a vacation running. So
Yeah, and I guess you're not always the most re-energized coming back from vacation either, but I was pretty mentally tired and
right.
physically, but honestly more mentally tired than physically.
Oh, but man. So I wanna know like what it practically looked like you going out and running for 100 hours. Like what did that practically look like? The sleep, if there was any, your strategy. Tell me a little bit about that.
I ended up running till about 4 a.m. the first day without napping or anything. And it started pouring. I was hoping to just go through until the second day and just really sleep once I was like dead tired.
Yeah.
I was kind of afraid of going to sleep, honestly, because it's like I'd never gone to sleep during a race. I just know like after I go to sleep after a race, I wake up and I'm super sore. So I was like, what's it gonna be like once I'm awake? Like, am I even gonna be able to run again, or am I just like gonna end up walking? But I woke up the second morning. I slept about 4 hours, like 3 to 4 hours, and everything felt pretty fresh. So I was confident that I could keep going forward doing that, just run until I started feeling tired in the nighttime and then sleep kind of like a normal sleep, but just shorter. So
Right.
I'd usually try and keep it to like 4 hours if I could.
Hmm. And how many miles did you run that first 2 days or day, whatever it was?
Uh, the first 24 hours ended up being like 79 and a half miles.
So you're telling me your legs felt pretty fresh from 79 miles and 4 hours of sleep?
Yeah, strangely they did.
Dude, tell me how in the world is that even possible?
You just make sure you're going a nice, relatively relaxed pace, and it's just like I'm monitoring the heart rate a lot, and it's like, of course, like I'm different things are popping up and like kind of saying, hey, like I'm sore, like, and so it's just trying to like mitigate that as much as possible, and like it's just like damage control on one thing, and then it's kind of starts to slowly go away, and then everything's good for a little bit, and then something else will pop up, and like having to like switch focus onto that issue, and so it's like it's a relatively fresh. Like things are always not perfect, but it's like good enough to keep moving forward at a run walk pace. So
So, like, how do you even train to get to that point? What are you doing in your training? How many miles are you running a day, or what are you doing that's special?
honestly, I don't know if I'm doing anything really that's special. Especially, I mean, I had seen you in December. I ran the Backland
Yeah,
and was pretty destroyed after that for like a month.
it's a rough, muddy race, man.
Yeah, and that was kind of coming off of another rough, muddy race, and so it was just like compiled. And so really, I was just trying to. I felt pretty fit after doing those two races back to back. It was really just if I could recover enough to be able to run enough to go like 200 plus miles in this one and not feel injured. And so I got up to doing 360-ish mile weeks, and I felt comfortable doing that, and it wasn't anything crazy. I wasn't like doing any real like workouts. It was just trying to maintain like a 9-10 minute pace, like make sure my heart rate was low, make sure I felt comfortable moving at that slow, easy pace with some walking in between, just because that's what it was going to be. So I just made sure like I felt good doing that.
You did 60 miles a week.
That was what I maxed out at before this, yeah.
Wow.
For like 3 weeks, and then I like brought it back down a little bit, and I was like, well, we're just gonna see if that's good enough for this one.
Yeah, I'm sure, coming off those 200-mile races helped. Running 100 miles in the mud. I guess before those two races, what's your training look like for that? Like, let's go 6 months to 10 months back in time. What were you doing then?
Yeah, so I definitely had more of a strategy going into those races, or at least the first of those two races.
Yeah.
So like actually like building a plan. And so for a 100-mile race, I'll typically peak at like 100 to 120 mile week, and I'll kind of build up to a peak of about 70 to 80 mile week, and the bulk of that will be in one or two long runs. Like one will be on the weekend, one might be like a day or two before that. Like I like them to be as close to back as possible, and then I'll bring it down for like a week or two, and then peak back up. So it kind of looks like a little peak, goes back into like a small valley, and then up to like 120 mile peak, and a few weeks before the event, and then I'll just like slowly bring it back down. So after that week, I'll do like maybe 80 miles,
Gotcha.
then 50, and then like 30 the week before or something.
I gotcha. Oh,
That's ideal, but I mean, you know, sometimes you want to sign up for something last minute, especially if it's not your A race, and just kind of like roll the dice.
right, right. So, like, I want to go back and I want to learn about how you even got into all of this. Like now I think you're sitting on a couch
Yep.
and you just got done running close to 200 or around 200 miles. Um, where did this start? Tell me about it.
I always ran in some way. I grew up as a soccer player and less of a competitive runner. And I did run track my senior year of high school. I was running the 4 and the 8, and then went to college. I didn't run there, but I played soccer there, and would just kind of run for fun. Ran a couple half marathons when I was in college, and then stopped pretty much doing everything after college. And I gained some weight, and it was a lot harder to run, which was frustrating because it's something that I really enjoy doing sometimes. And so I was like pretty determined to get back into it. And when I started chiropractic school in 2017, they which is up in Dallas,
Yeah,
they offered free entry into the Dallas Marathon because they would set up a booth and volunteer there. And
that's
so they
sweet.
allowed students. Yeah, it was awesome.
So
So
how does, real quick, I want to know since you are a chiropractor, um, how does that go hand in hand with running? Like, should all runners be going to the chiropractor?
I'm gonna say yes, or at least some type of specialist who can give them advice. They could see a PT if they prefer, or someone who is at least knowledgeable and things like that, and they can consult. Especially if something, an injury pops up before continuing activity, or just to bounce ideas off of. And it gives me um, a background in rehab and nutrition and wellness and a lot of different things that I think play into my favor. And my fiance is also a chiropractor, so it's like if I start to ignore my own advice, she's there to be like, no, you're being dumb.
Yeah.
Sometimes like it's easy to, as an athlete, to push through things, and like it's good to have that other like third party to just be there, say no, like you got to hold back a little bit,
Right.
accountable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's your secret sauce, man, is your chiropractor skills, maybe even your nutrition knowledge. So, really quick, I want to dive in. When I saw you at the Backland, you and Chad, y'all were just shoving food down y'all's throat every lap. Um, give me, I guess, for these style of races that are just loops and around a cone or whatever, or loops around whatever. What's your nutrition look like? Like, what's your strategy when you're doing that?
Yeah, it can be like anything and everything, which can be dangerous too. um Ideally, I mean, I like to eat real food, so like the quesadillas and grilled cheese, and I like beef sticks and burgers, and I mean meat. Like I'd rather stick to that stuff as much as possible. And I know it's hard for organizations to get volunteers to be whipping stuff up like that, like 24/7,
Yeah.
or an indeterminate amount of time for a last person standing, or for something like this for like 5 days.
Yeah.
So um, I mean, they usually like will stick it to the nighttime. So we brought a cooler full of stuff. Like we whipped up like a Tupperware full of like quinoa salad, and I didn't get into it as much as I wanted to because we had a fiasco with our canopy. There were like some crazy winds. It was like 30-mile-an-hour winds. And the first night, our canopy got launched over this like barbed wire fence. And
What was so? I want to know, what were you doing during this time? Like, where were you when this happened?
I was in the tent sleeping. And I had gone to sleep 10 minutes before this happened. And and my fiance she did the 100-hour also. So we were both in the tent sleeping. And we have this like two-person lean back chair, and it was underneath the canopy. And so we're like, oh no, like the lean back chair fell over, and we unzipped the tent, and the whole canopy is like on the other side of this fence tumbling away from like everything. It's like, oh my god. And it's pouring too, and so like everything that was under the canopy is now getting drenched. And so
Man.
like, we stood there for a couple seconds, and then like had to throw everything in the car, because some of the stuff, like some of it was just like we're fine throwing away. Like we brought a king cake that we like never touched, but like some stuff was like chargers and like
So, what'd y'all do? Did y'all chase after the canopy, or
we got everything in the car and went back to bed.
so is the canopy still out there somewhere, just tumbling around?
No, I think uh the photographer Jeremiah, he hopped the fence, and I think they ended up rounding it up for us. I think he and Cal. Plus because I had a bib belt on, so I would put the bib belt on the canopy whenever I was taking a break. And so my bib was on the other side of the fence too. So even if like I couldn't go out for any more laps until someone had retrieved that for me.
All right.
So I was like, I'm not running anyway. Like I can't.
That's
So I'm
wild,
going
man.
back to bed. Yeah. It
I
was
bet that
insane.
was something.
So after that happened, we didn't really have like a home base, so it was a lot. I was less motivated to get into our cooler, even though we brought things like fruit and healthier stuff to eat, which is like what I wanted to try to start eating. just because if you're eating like cookies and chips all day for, especially for a 200-mile race, like just the nature of those foods is going to increase inflammation to a certain degree. And it's
Right.
like some people like can get away with it, and like I I do pretty decent just eating like pie and cookies. So, but it's like I don't know how long that'll last. Like that may go away. So it's like, and just for my own health, like I feel like I walked away from the backland as a pre-diabetic. So I
I looked over there and you were shoving Cheetos down your throat or something, man. I was like, "Jeez."
think I ate half a pie in like 4 hours. So
It's insane, man. Yeah, I think I don't know if you'd probably agree, but I think the trick to these long distance races is just being able to keep food down, keep calories in you. Would you agree?
yeah, that's a huge part. If you have an issue with that, it's like you're just losing fuel, and if you don't have fuel, you can't keep going.
Yeah.
It's it's tricky. It's probably harder in the more intense races, just because as your heart rate goes up, it's more difficult to stomach stuff, and just because your body's not necessarily like prioritizing
Mm.
digesting food, it's like
Yeah.
prioritizing running because you're in full throttle mode, your heart rate's
Mhm.
ramped up. But
So would you say it's because I've gotten done with really hard track workouts and I'd be like, there's no way I could eat anything right now. But
mhm.
then there's sometimes where I'm running slow and I just get so hungry. So would you say that heart rate, if you have a low heart rate, you'll be able to eat easier and better than if it was a high heart rate?
Yeah, for sure. I would say so.
Yeah. All the listeners, y'all write that down. That's some good advice, man.
Yeah, that's what I try and go off of most of the time is heart rate is like the most important metric as far as like especially for a long race, not to exceed a certain number. And if that number, I guess, can be dependent on yourself, and you just have to kind of find where that's at. I think there's a set range where it's
Right.
like kind of recommended, but
So what's your what heart rate do you stay at?
for something like this, I tried to float between like 120 to 140, and but if it's less than 120, even better. Like
Right.
it kind of just the lower the better for a really long effort like that. But it's like 140, I can do okay there, especially as long as like I transition to a walk and it goes down quickly. That's kind of another thing. Is like if you go from running to walking and it stays elevated, it's like you're still kind of pushing it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. So were you using this race to, I think, aren't you signed up for some 200-mile race here in the near future? What race is that?
I'm signed up for Cocodona 250, which is in May.
You look like a
Yeah,
Cocodona 250
I'm
guy,
excited.
man, with your beard and everything you got going on right now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna shave this soon. I'm just waiting until my lips heal. They're like super blistered and cracked. Yeah, I
Right.
know. But like if I take it away now, I feel like it would really pop. So
Right. Have you thought about doing like the mustache thing?
yeah, this is my second time doing a beard.
Oh,
I
okay.
used to do the mustache and kind of take that away and like do like clean shaven and mustache, and now I've started to cycle in beard. So
Yeah. Do you think the facial hair just makes you feel more manly? And because you feel more manly, you just run better?
I don't know. I've had some pretty good races with a mustache too, and
Yeah.
without anything. I don't think I had anything at Backland.
All right. Yeah, I think you're
Um,
clean shaved there.
I just like to switch it up, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
That,
don't know. It seems like at some point at Western States, all these guys were had mustaches out there or something. So I don't know if it's like if it plays a big role in it or not, but
it might. I try not to get too superstitious. I feel like whenever pressures and things come about, but
right. So I want to know, man, what kind of training are you doing going into this Cocodona 250? Like, what's your plan for that?
I don't really know.
Really?
I finished up with this deal, and now I'm gonna take a week or two off. Um, I have all the races I've been doing. I haven't worn a pack for, and so I'm gonna do a lot of training runs, like long runs for sure, with just like throw a bunch of stuff in the pack I'm gonna wear for the race
Right.
and do like as much vert as I can for Texas at least. There's a trail down near Austin. It's called Mount Lakeway, and it's kind of like just along some like telephone lines. It's got some decent climbing, so I'll probably just go futz around there, and I could probably get like 7,000 feet over like a 20-mile run. So
Right. So what's the reason that you're running all these like crazy distances?
I really wanted to do the 200-mile races more for a sense of adventure
Mm.
and just go see some really cool stuff in a unique way. And doing all these other things along the way have just been to build fitness, so that way it's a lot more fun and less miserable,
Right.
and to try and do it relative. I mean, kind of fast. I'm not trying to win or necessarily. I'm gonna go out and see how fast I can do it, but I'm not. That's not the ultimate goal. It's just to have a really cool time and with the people that I'm out there with and make memories,
Oh
see
yeah.
cool stuff. But um,
That looks
that's
like
the
a
bigger.
sweet race out there, man. Cocodona, man, to just run across Arizona. That
Yeah, have you ever been out there?
No, man, I have not been out to Arizona before, but I've been watching a bunch of videos past 5 years, it seems like, of all the races out there, man. And Cocodona is looks like one heck of an adventure, man. So,
Yeah, it'll be cool. We were out there last fall. Just stopped in Flagstaff for a couple days and just drove down. We didn't really stop anywhere else along the course, other than this. Like, we stopped in Black Canyon City at that little diner, like where it starts at.
right.
Um, but yeah, just seeing the change in landscape as you go from north to south gives kind of an idea of what it'll be like. So
Yeah. So, where do you think this desire of adventure is going to take you, man? Do you have any like crazy ideas for the future other than Cocodona?
nothing really brewing yet. There's other 200-mile races and a lot more keep popping up all over the place. And I mean, the Triple Crown is like the big one out west. Um, I don't know. There's like European races. I don't know if I'm. I'd like to run, like the big races like Western States
Oh,
and Hard Rock, and so, but all of those take time. It's a
yeah.
process, and so it's like you kind of just got to chip away at those. I've run Bandera. It'd be cool to go back there. I don't necessarily know that I could get a golden ticket. Those guys are just wicked fast.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be fun to go. And last time I was there, I was just going for like sub 12. It was after a last person standing I had done. It was like a couple months after, and so that was mostly to see the course and have like, enjoy it. And ran it with a friend.
Right.
Actually, ran it with Chad.
Oh, is that where you met Chad?
No, I had met him before that, but we were both signed up for it, and so we agreed to run it together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that your trail running buddy?
Yeah, we trained a bunch, and now I'm living down in Georgetown, so I don't see him. I haven't seen him since I've moved, but we're in touch. So
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed y'all were just hand in hand at the backland. It's like
mhm.
y'all were side by side the whole time. So yeah,
Yeah,
man.
buddy system, especially through something like that, it helps. Like
Right.
through the and all the mud.
Right. So I want to know, man, what's your like whenever um you're training and you're running like these 100 something mile weeks, man, how are you balancing that with life? Because you're engaged. You're still engaged, right? Y'all aren't married yet. Yeah.
No,
You're engaged, working full time. I assume you're working full time, right?
yep,
Yeah, and then you running these 100 mile weeks, man. How in the world are you doing that? I have a feeling it's like early AM hours and little sleep. Am I right?
yep. In the sleeps, I feel like I still get decent sleep because we go to sleep at like 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't done it so much since we've been here, just because it was that back to back racing and getting ready for something like this. But before I would get up at like 3 and do like a 20-mile run before work. Um, and I might do that like once or twice a week, and then on the weekends do like a 20 to 30-mile run.
Jeez.
And so just getting like a few like solid days. Nothing usually over like 50K or like 20. Like they're all like in the 20 miles.
Right. So
Mm.
like whenever you're running these like 20, 30-mile runs in the AM hours,
Mm.
like what's going through your mind, man? Because I mean, like to run that many miles for that many hours really early in the morning consistently, I feel
Mm.
like that would get kind of monotonous. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, sometimes. But there's always some different stuff out happening in the early hours. Like some mornings you might see some coyotes, and sometimes you won't. There's cars, and weird stuff happens sometimes in the morning.
Right. You got any
But
like strategy? Like, do you listen to like any podcasts or anything like that?
yeah, and I'll throw on music and podcasts sometimes. Nothing usually profound though. It's just most of the time it's music, and it's music that I've heard before. It's like playlists that I have created.
What kind of
It's just
music you listening to out there?
a lot of that's kind of like, I mean, in the morning it's like anything. But music, I'll do it a lot like weather dependent. Like when it's just like dead hot, I really like reggae makes it a lot cooler. Or like I don't know, the Grateful Dead has a way of just like making the heat seem less hot.
What kind of genre is that? I haven't heard of those.
Reggae is a genre, and then the Grateful
Okay.
Dead's like I guess like classic rock. I don't know honestly if you could call them classic. They're a jam band. They're like the jam band. Yeah, check them out. They're I listen to I like smooth jazz is fun in the morning, especially when it's dark.
Smooth jazz, like elevator music.
Elevator music's good too, like Muzak. Muzak's good.
Come on, man. Y'all take some notes on this. We're about to have elevator music playing at our events now. Get
Like
these runners
1930s
going, man.
country is good. Like the old country.
Old country?
Yeah, yeah, like old country is good.
Man, you are all over the place. You got rock, old country, jazz. That's
Yeah,
what
and
keeps you going.
that's something too, just switching it up and having the options, because it's like sometimes it's just like you're going and you're listening to something. This isn't doing it for me. I need something different.
Right,
Just like just gotta like scratch that itch, and it's like trying to figure out what'll do it.
right. Yeah, I don't know about you, man, but like sometimes I have so much music going on for so long, I just get annoyed and turn it off. Does that ever happen to you?
Yep.
Right,
If I skip a bunch of songs and it's just like it's not doing it for me, it's like you know what? No, I need to just like have quiet and look around. And sometimes I feel like music will make me go faster, and
mm,
so especially if I'm trying to keep it real chill,
yeah,
or if I feel like I'm pushing it, then I might turn the music off.
right. Yeah, man. Um, yeah, dude, there's just something about running like in those AM hours where you're just alone and it's dark or the sun rising, man. It's just so like peaceful, you know?
And because there are some crazy things that'll happen, but most of the time it is like it's pretty empty as far as like activity, and it's nice like to be finishing a run and the sun's starting to kind of crest up, and knowing that you've gotten that work done for the day. And then I mean, I still have work, but but at least like the running part of my day is done, and I've gotten like that much accomplished that early already, and it's a good feeling to start the day knowing that you've already done so much.
Yeah. Man, I don't know about you, man, but whenever I finish, or if I start my day without running and I have to run in the evening and I push it to the evening, honestly, man, I kind of feel like crap, man. And like I have this like this nudge all day or like this annoyance that I have to get my run in this evening. And it's just a lot more relaxing whenever you get it done in the morning because then you're like, boom, just got 20, 10, 5, whatever miles done in the morning. I'm ready to start my day, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to get those done. So for everybody listening, if you're doing all your evening runs every evening, you hop on the old morning grind. There's
And
something there's
if the
something that's
mileage,
like, do what?
I would say if the mileage for the day is small, I'm okay doing it in the evening potentially. I'd
Yeah,
rather still do it in the morning, but it's like if it's a big day, I there's no way I'll do it in the evening because that's I don't want to cut into the time that my fiance and I have together either. You
yeah,
know, like that's why I try and do it really early too,
yeah.
because like there's just that's our time, and so if this is something I want to do, I gotta get up early and get it done. So
Mm. How many people do you think actually do that? Like they make time for their loved one over work or running?
I think a lot of people do. I hope a lot of people do.
Yeah,
Uh, in the end, that's more important than anything else, to me at least, is like the people and the community. And the running's important, but it's like I don't know, having the people around it and to experience it with all the other people is a huge part. So
yeah. Now I'm gonna ask you this, and if it's too personal, you can tell me, hey, I'm not gonna answer, but
okay,
how did you and your fiance meet?
we met in college. We went and we were floating the river
Hmm.
down in New Braunfels.
New Braunfels, yeah. Floating the river. And
Yep.
so what happened?
I know. So we met. We It was a group thing. We went there through a mutual friend, and we were just floating the river and chatting, and just hit it off.
Mm. You got any I
Ledge.
don't know if there's any single guys listening, but you got any advice for them for how to hit it off?
Just be yourself and go for it.
Come on. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's all you can do. Don't force it. Just just be yourself, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, then it's not the right person.
Come on. So were y'all both runners at that point?
Yeah, she ran cross country at the school we went to, and I mean, I was like a runner, so I was a soccer player still.
So what was y'all's first
Primary.
date? Was y'all's first date a half marathon or something?
No, I think our first date was at IKEA.
Was it what?
At IKEA.
IKEA?
Yeah.
What'd y'all do at IKEA? That was a date.
We ate meatballs and we they had Wally on PlayStation 1 like set up in one of the display rooms. And so like we sat down and I was trying to Google like cheat codes for Wally 1 so we could try and like speed run it real fast.
Oh my gosh. What year was this?
2016.
Jeez, man. IKEA.
And yeah, we just kind of messed around in IKEA because I think I had to buy some new pillows. And I invited her along. So I don't know if you I consider it a date. I think we both considered it a date. So it was fun.
So did you like make the first move on that IKEA couch or something or man, that's
Throw it
so
too far.
funny.
But yeah, it was fun.
Right. Man, Nick, you are unique. You know that?
Listen.
Well, that's sweet, man. And so did y'all like start doing runs together and stuff like that?
Yeah, we run together, not all the time, just because our paces aren't always the same, and we're not shooting for the same goals, like distance wise, race wise, anything.
Right.
But yeah, it's especially like if I want to double or something, like I might go and do a really early run and join her for her run,
Right.
or like, or we'll just like that'll be our run together for that day. Yeah, it's fun to mix it up, and it's fun to have someone there to be able to go on adventures and runs with. So.
Oh yeah. It's a love story right there, man.
Mhm.
You said that you're very knowledgeable in wellness, nutrition, chiropractic, all that stuff. I'm kind of interested in some of like the science and benefits of anything. and I know you got I know you got something up your sleeve, man. So I want to hear. I want to know if you have anything that's like beneficial for us that we should know that maybe not a lot of people know.
Yes, what do you mean by that?
Like, there's a thing to where, like, if you eat this certain food, or if you do this, if you stretch a lot, or whatever, you're gonna be
Yeah,
able to run faster, recover faster, or anything like that.
gotcha. Um, I don't think it's anything like too groundbreaking or like insane, but it's definitely just like consistency in rehab and maintaining maintaining what you have while you're healthy and staying on top of things, doing rehab and strengthening all around everything, like all of your muscles, especially that you're going to be utilizing for whatever activity you decide to do, whether it be running or swimming or cycling or lifting or whatever,
Mm.
and making sure that they're balanced and working well. And then say you find yourself with an issue, that's whenever you should seek help from a provider or something, or try and dial it back. And that's whenever, I don't know if I'm just rambling now, but it's like, like you can do a lot on your own to prevent things from getting to a point where you might need to see somebody, and then that, I mean, at that point, you should go and see somebody. And especially whenever you're pushing yourself to your limits, that can happen, and it's sometimes inevitable. but
Yeah.
and that's why people are there, like healthcare providers. But but yeah, making sure, like the rehab and the strength training is real, and I neglected it for a long time.
What's that rehab include? Like, can you give me a specific example of that?
For myself, and I probably not perfect or anything. I like to do single leg squats,
Yeah.
a lot of band work for my ankles. As a soccer player, I've rolled them a bajillion times, and so I really like that's like kind of a must. And I have a wobble board, and so I'll stand on that and do single leg squats. I'll do some wall sits and like side lunges with a band around my feet. I feel like I was ignoring my glutes and my hamstrings a pretty decent amount. And that's something that I've started to try and get. And I'm not doing anything crazy with it, but I'm just like standing, and I'll just extend my hip and hold it for a few seconds and then bring it back, do like 5, 10 of those. And then I'll do the same thing, but like abducting my leg, which is like swinging it out to this like outside away from my body,
Yeah.
hold it for a few seconds and then bringing it back, doing that, like 3 sets of that. So it's like, especially as a runner, like lower body, trying to hit every muscle group at least a little bit with some strengthening stuff. I'll usually do it after every run as long as I have enough time. Ideally, a couple sets, but I'll just do one set sometimes. It's like, let's be real.
You get done doing 20 miles, you're like, yeah, we're just gonna gotta cut this short a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've always felt like it was harder to do stuff like that, especially ab work after running. It feels so much like I feel so much more tired and exhausted if I wait till after to do it. But if you run in the morning, you don't really have an option. So,
Yeah, just try and squeeze it in, give myself a little bit of extra time before work.
right, right. Well, I appreciate all your secret sauce, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
I don't know if that was a big science knowledge or anything, but
I mean, clip that, man. Put it on YouTube.
it's a thing. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, it's so important, man. And it's something I hear consistently because we have a lot of people that like win races on here, and they're always talking about how they have some type of strength or maintenance stuff they do. So yeah, that's something I definitely include in my training as well. I think it's definitely important. I feel like if you just run all the time, you're just gonna destroy yourself if you don't do
Yeah.
any. you know?
It's critical, I think, and it's because it's like the stretching's good and it'll feel good like to a certain degree, but I it's like the strengthening is stuff that you just got to do it.
So static stretching or dynamic stretching?
Uh, Depends on when. I'll do dynamic stretching sometimes before. Um, I'll usually do dynamic after, and then stretching would be like I'll do dynamic like afterwards outside, like while I'm outside still, just like real light, like jogging and like don't even remember what it's called. It's like where you're kind of like side galloping like a horse.
Yeah,
Um,
I know what that is.
I don't remember what the
Side
name for
lunges?
that is.
Side
What is it?
lunges?
Yeah, sort of. I don't know, like horse gallops. Um, and
Yeah.
like little skips and like high knees, butt kicks, but like going real slow. And then, I mean, whenever I get inside of something, I'm still feeling it. I'll do a little bit of static stretching, but afterwards, I'm not a big static stretching before person. I like things to be a little warm, and usually I'll just kind of get right into it. I'll just make sure I don't go like full throttle right out the gate.
Right. I always compare static stretching, and let me clarify real quick. Um, Static stretching is holding a stretch for a long period of time. Dynamic stretching is like moving your body parts for a temporary stretch. So like knee hugs would be dynamic, and then static would be toe touches for 30 seconds. So I just want to clarify for anyone listening. But I've always compared static stretching to where if you have like especially in the cold, if you have a rubber band and then you just pull it and hold it, I feel like it'd be more likely to snap and break than if it was warm outside. And so I think climate definitely plays a part in that. Um, Whenever if you're doing it every day outside, you know. So yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Sounds like
All right.
we're
Do
in the same boat for that. Then you're more a dynamic stretch guy.
Yeah, yeah. My coach here in college, he has us do static before every single run, and I'm not a fan. So I kind of protest and do my own dynamic stuff on the side. But yeah, especially in the cold, man. Yeah, yeah, I do dynamic. But yeah, like if I'm running on my own, I just honestly I don't even stretch before I run. I just go run. So I definitely need to stretch more. I don't know if you've read David Goggins' book, but he talks about how in the end, have you read it? Can't Hurt Me.
No, I haven't.
He talks about at the end, he started stretching,
He's
and
right though. I can't hurt him. He's too
dude,
strong.
what do you think about David Goggins, by the way?
What's that?
So, what do you think about David Goggins? Do you look up to him?
Not necessarily. I think it's impressive what he does. I'm not saying that it's not, but the way that he does things and his mentality about things isn't necessarily the way that I view things or like feel like you need to view it to like be able to do this stuff.
I feel like
But
you're more like chill and relaxed when it comes to viewing stuff like that.
yeah, but I came from a different background, and it's like from what he's experienced and what he's gone through, like that may be what he needs, and that's what he's needed to get to where he is. And he's as successful as he is, so like can't knock him. I can knock him, but it's not going to do anything. So
So, do you have anyone you look up to, like anyone online or anything like that?
a lot of people I like to follow. I mean, all the elites, of course, like they're doing amazing, impressive things.
Shout out to Jim Walmsley.
Yeah, Jim Longley's a beast. He's out there doing it over in Europe.
All right, are you
Um,
in
I
France?
guess especially with this long trail stuff, like Joe McConaughey. I really like the way he approaches it, just his mentality about it, and what he does is a lot of fun.
If you could describe your mentality towards working hard, running, doing hard things in a hashtag or a slogan, what would it be?
I don't know. Um, Hashtag work fun.
Hashtag work fun.
Because it's like, I mean, it is at the end of the day, it's work, and it's like you gotta put in the work to get the results. But it should also be fun. And if it's not fun, then it's like it shouldn't really. I mean, just still be active and do it because it's good for you. But but it's just icing on the cake. Like as long as you're having fun too. Like to doing it to this degree and this level. Like if it starts to be less fun, like I'm gonna dial it back.
Mm. Do you ever like, so do you talk to yourself whenever it gets hard and you're like hurting? Do you ever like talk to yourself?
Yeah,
What do you
like
say?
if I feel like I'm injured or like if I'm like really struggling like in a run, like
Yeah.
I'm pushing.
Like you're struggling to run or race. Like, what do you tell yourself?
I I try to tell myself to keep going as much as possible, but I also, it starts to become a conflict of, you know, I want to stop. This is really hard, but you know, you're doing. I mean, and it depends on where I am in a race. It's like if I'm in the lead or I'm up contending for a spot, then there's a lot of other reasons to battle with, like trying to continue on. I mean, if you're not, then it's like, all right, like there's no, I mean, you can chill, like just ease up a little bit. So that all depends too.
Right.
I don't know if that answers the
That
question.
does answer the question. I don't know how we got off on that track, but this side thought came in my head of do you have like any other hobbies or interest outside of running, chiropractic, and your fiance?
I like to do a lot of other active things also. Like, um, I never played competitive tennis, but I started playing tennis a lot in college. I haven't played in forever, but like that's like that. I mean, pickleball is a big thing now. I'd like to start doing that a little bit more.
I'm gonna be
Uh,
honest, man. I don't like pickleball. Not a
no,
big fan of it, man.
you like ping pong?
Maybe it's because I got trapped in the gym with a bunch of 8-year-olds playing it for 3 days straight. That might have ruined the experience for me.
Yeah,
I heard it's a new emerging sport though. So,
yeah. You have to give it another chance. Go and like with your friends because now there's like pickleball bars and restaurants and stuff. Like it's growing for sure. Yeah, sports are fun. They're harder to do than running to try and organize a group of people, especially to get an entire group of people that you jive with. And that's the hard thing about just joining a random team. Sometimes you get the random person or two that like takes it like it's their job, and it's like, okay,
I've met somebody like that, man.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, sweet, man. Um,
But I'm not like other than that, like hobbies, not nothing crazy. It'd be fun to like pick up an instrument, maybe at some point. I played the guitar a little when I was a kid, but what about you?
uh, no, man. I think don't I like the only other side things and hobbies I do outside of running, man, is um Texas Outlaw. That's a lot of time right there. Church and time with my wife, but and hiking. I do like to go hike, man. But yeah, man, I don't know. My most of my life has been in school and running and Texas Outlaw. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure having your own company and trying to grow it, and I can't imagine the amount of time that takes up, along with school and everything else. So,
Oh yeah, man. It's definitely a grind. But hey, we're all on some sort of grind. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
some form or fashion. So,
After it, yeah.
oh yeah. Uh, Before we hop off, man, I wanted to know if you had any advice for people listening, um, as far as like running goes or trail running.
Um, I would say don't, especially people starting off, don't get caught up so much in the pace and comparing yourselves to people who are, you know, to other people in general, because it's like starting off, I never thought I would be like winning any races at all. And I never planned to win any races. That was never my objective. I never thought I would be like going that fast or that long. Um, but I just kept saying like, well, I wonder if I can run this far. Like, I wonder if I can do that. And it's just like,
Forrest Gump style.
yeah, and it just kept like kind of building upon itself. And then, um, I don't know. It just, you just surprise yourself one day. It's like, wow, I'm faster than I was X amount of years or months ago. And it's like, now I wonder, like, let's see, try and go even faster now. And so it's like, try not to put too much pressure on yourself, like in the moment, and just like enjoying just where you are and the process of it all.
Right. It's a good word, man. Good word.
Nice.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah,
And
thanks for having me on.